Nice to have you.
Thank you.
Finally.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
How are you today? It's a bit foggy.
Yeah, it's a bit foggy in this area, but where I live over in Grafarholt is super sunny and beautiful and nice. Oh man, I love this time of year, right?
Yeah,
we wait all year in
Yeah.
Iceland for this time of year. When it comes here, it's like it gets exciting.
Do you remember your first full winter here?
Yeah, it was 2018, and I had just moved here, and I moved here in October, actually, and it was one of the worst winters in Akureyri because my wife's from Akureyri, and we moved there, and we ended up renting a summer cabin out near Kenneskor.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily we had a 4-wheel drive because there was so much snow. We'd have to like sometimes dig ourselves out almost every single day just to get her to work and back, you know.
How was it like because you've lived in places like Hawaii, California.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm looking at it now through the lens of Esther, my girlfriend. I think it can be like you don't even know how much the light affects you until you've already gone through some period where it's just really dark.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I you know, it's not the thing that affected me was not the snow or the cold or the ice. It was definitely the light.
Yeah.
The lack of sunshine. And at the time, like for me, I was remodeling in a basement apartment by myself. Just totally gutting the thing. So I was like in the complete darkness. And yeah, it was, I remember at one point, I think it was at the end, like when you get all the way up to December's great because there's festivals, people are celebrating, you know, you have Christmas, there's a lot of energy. But when you get into January, that's when it just like, it starts going downhill quickly, you know? And I just remember like feeling quite low and depressed in January. Yeah. But it's a trip because like most people are just not used to how little light we get or how much light we get too in the summer, you know?
Exactly. And I think like, I don't know, I cannot talk for other people, but I think for me, for example, it's the first winter in 15 years that I've just been here. Mm-hmm. And things have actually been going well. And I've not felt any sort of depression or anything, but I don't think I will realize what I have been lacking until I go to the sun.
Yeah.
I'm probably going now in May.
Yeah.
And I think on day 3 or 4, my body is going to be like, okay.
This is what it is.
Now I get it.
This is what it is to be alive.
I think it's a little bit like the frog who is boiling in the pot without knowing it.
Yeah.
When we are just here, it happens slowly and gradually.
Exactly.
And you become a bit numb.
Yeah.
And you don't realize what you're missing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, we don't understand too, like how much it affects our mitochondria and how much it affects the energy of our cells, like to get sunshine. And like you said, like it happens really slowly. As you're going through winter, it's like everything just starts to slow down so gradual that you don't even notice it by the time you're completely in the darkness internally, you know?
Exactly.
There's just like nothing there.
So we're going to talk, you mentioned mitochondria, we're going to talk about health. That's one of the things we're going to talk about.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about health.
But I wanted to dive first a bit into your story.
Yeah.
Like, all the way up to coming here to Iceland.
Okay.
Like, so your upbringing and just the situation you come from, I find it interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely unconventional, that's for sure. Definitely. So by the way, my name is Jacob Wood.
I never introduced my guests.
Yeah, exactly. So it's really interesting because my parents they're complete hippies from the 60s, you know. Actually, my dad's quite a bit older. He's 90 right now. He was like 45 when he had me, so he was a pretty old father. And my mother's 15 years younger than him. And they came from totally different backgrounds. He came from the East Coast, New Jersey, and his parents were like immigrants, actually. So he was the first generation American. But my mother's side of the family had been in the States for a really long time. And she came from a military background. So my grandfather won all sorts of awards from the U.S. government for being in the Air Force. He flew the first Mach 1 jet as a test pilot and trained some of the first astronauts how to fly. So he's quite prestigious in the Air Force in the United States. And then my grandmother, she was a bit of a badass, and she was one of the first Marines, female Marines in the U.S. And so, my mother grew up in a way where, it was very strict and regimented, kind of life. And she lived a really, nice middle class type of lifestyle. And then after she became an adult, she dropped out of school and joined the 60s movement. And at some point, I don't know all the stories. I don't even know if she remembers all the stories of how it happened or how she got there. But her and my father met at a flop house in San Francisco.
What is a flop house?
Yeah, flop house. It's a term for these houses that hippies just squatted in at the time, and it was all sorts of things would happen there. Open sexuality to
free love.
Yeah, free love, lots of free love, psychedelics, you name it, it was that movement. So they met there at this flop house and had zero responsibilities at the time, but quickly became pregnant with my oldest brother. And then that just evolved, and they ended up having 4 children together, me being number 3. Yeah, and my father was a complete artist, through and through. Could never hold a job, just wanted to do art and sell his paintings whenever he could. And my mother was just raising us kids on welfare and HUD, which is government subsidies, And so that's kind of how we were surviving, is this off of government help. And we moved around a lot. So we were in the first place I remember, we were living in Vallejo, and we were the only white Caucasian family in that area. It was just, all African Americans. So my brother and my sister, they were shocked to find out that they were Caucasian. They were white people too, But it was interesting because it was definitely it was a hard place to be, for them growing up. And I was too young to remember, but they would get chased after school, and it was tough. They'd get beat up a lot and stuff like that. Yeah. And then we moved again to a smaller town. This town was actually really interesting. It was Guerneville was the name of it in California. And it was where all the gay community from San Francisco would go. And it was just a kind of a party town for the gay community in San Francisco. And it was an interesting culture there. So it was a half that, which was a complete party scene, and then half families raising children. Beautiful river and lots of wine growing area. But yeah, it was interesting. But yeah,
was it from there that she moved to Hawaii?
Yeah. So what happened was that my oldest brother decided to go to Hawaii. I don't remember what inspired him to go, but he moved to Kauai of the Hawaiian Islands, and he just fell in love with it. He started working on a ginger farm over there and just loved the life of living on the island. And somehow he convinced my mother that it was the right thing to do, or maybe she just decided at the time. But at that point, she had met another man, a guy in a band, and got pregnant for the 5th time. And then right before we actually moved, she got pregnant again and had her 6th child.
Wow.
At that point, she was just kind of losing it. And I think she had lost direction in life, to be honest. I remember it was really challenging for us because it was like, your mother is your rock. She's like the stability in the family, like, so when that person starts to lose center, everything's kind of up for grabs, or, it's a question of what direction your family's heading. So in that state that she was in, she decided to move us all to Hawaii. She got some money from my grandmother to buy the tickets out there. But what she didn't realize was that when she moved us out to the islands, that she wouldn't have government subsidies anymore, to raise us or to house us or to feed us. Wow. So we ended up on this beach called Nanini Beach, just north of Kilauea on the north shore of Kauai. And it was a beautiful beach. I mean, don't get me wrong, this place is paradise for sure. But we were homeless there for quite some time. Like, I didn't even have a tent. Like, I just had a sleeping bag and like a few clothes. And same with my younger sister, Katura. And the only person that had a tent was my mother. Thankfully, she had a tent because she had the two little ones that were, 4 and 5. Yeah. And so she would have the kids in the tent, and she was applying for government subsidies there to like raise us, but it takes a while, that process. And in the meantime, we were just pursuing or just living life on a beach in Hawaii, being homeless, and what that meant. To me, that was like, at that age, I was 15 years old, and there was a mix between complete freedom of being alive and just doing what you want when you want, but then also like a really a big desire for responsibility and survival.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there was no food. So the food that we would get was either something that my brother would bring, or I would go spearfishing every single day.
Really?
Yeah. And I learned, it was so cool because I met this, a native guy that lived on the beach as well. Mm-hmm. It's like, I guess it's maybe not the most like uncommon place to be homeless. It's like in Hawaii, and not such a bad place to be homeless, right? But yeah, he taught me how to use a Hawaiian sling. So we'd go spearfishing quite a bit together, and then I would just go spearfishing by myself, and caught a lot of food for the family, and just like we'd have fish almost every single day. Yeah. And then sometimes my little sister Katura, she's 2.5 years younger than me, her and I would just go forage for papayas and mangoes and jackfruit and whatever else we could find. Which, I mean, it's Hawaii, so it's quite plentiful. It's pretty easy if you know what to look for it to find these things. So yeah, the life was interesting. It was super simple and really close to nature. Mm-hmm. And when I look back at like the hard things was obviously that being homeless is not easy. When it rained, we would be like under a picnic table with a tarp over it. Yeah. That's it's a little bit depressing coming from a house, but then the positive side was like, I got to feel what it felt like to not really have any other responsibilities besides like survival.
Exactly.
Like what it felt like to be a hunter-gatherer, essentially, and it was quite a simple life.
But that's what comes to me when you're telling this story, because it's probably easy for somebody who grows up in a pretty conventional way like me. But what I have in common with you is my parents were hippies. Yeah. It probably explains this urge to be always a bit outside the system. Yeah. And always rebelling a little bit against this whole, what I would call like a hypnosis. Yeah. Everybody's doing it, so we should just do it how everybody has been doing it for all this time, but nobody asks why. Exactly. So it's probably easy to like downplay the difficulties with, you're in Hawaii, it must be nice, but of course, but there's always like there's always a pro and a con to everything. Yeah. And like you said so well, like this flip between a total freedom and then maybe having to take on too much responsibility, or not maybe, having to take on too much responsibility as a basically a kid or a teenager. Provider, essentially. Yeah, provider, exactly. Yeah. But it must have like, like just really affected you to have this, I don't know, I just sense when you're talking about it, this I don't know how to put it, just like this earthly, this is what it's all about. To just wake up, you're feeding your family, and then you're just in the now, basically.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look back, at 15 years old is a man. You know, if you look back at Native American traditions and stuff like that, you've already been through some rites of passage, and you are a provider for the family. Yeah. So, like, you know, when I look back now, you know, I don't think it was too early to have that responsibility. I think it was like a really good thing for me to do.
Yeah, because I feel like when you get older, you look back and you're like, it would have been good for me to get more responsibility earlier. Yeah. Because it just makes you grow.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I don't even know where to start here because, like, so when I'm thinking about this too, my mother pulled me out of school in 4th grade. And that was like the last conventional school I ever went to was 4th grade besides college. So yeah, I ended school 4th grade. She took me out to be homeschooled. And it was actually like, she called it unschooling because she didn't teach us anything. We were just wild, free kids, you know what I mean? We would just like do what we wanted. Yeah. Luckily, I knew how to read and I was like so interested in reading books. I read all sorts of books on Native American history and survival in the wilderness, which happened to come in handy when we actually moved to Hawaii. But yeah, it was interesting to be like an unschooled child because I got to be really wild and free. And in a way that matured me in a much more self-reliant, you know, when you think of like inner locus of control, that's what comes to mind for me. Because when you give a kid like so much freedom and you know, I don't think like I would recommend this to parents or anything like that, but like my mother didn't even have a curfew. She never said like when to come back, you know. We would never have like a structured meal time or anything like that. So sometimes I would disappear days at a time and she wouldn't even know where I was. I was over at a friend's house or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that made me really responsible for myself.
Exactly.
And it also made me listen to like what I desired to do and what kind of life I wanted to lead. And it did give me a lot more responsibility because I knew that there wasn't somebody outside of me that would make sure that I was okay.
Exactly.
Somebody outside of me that telling me like how to be or what lane to choose.
Exactly.
It was up to me to figure that out, you know.
Because there's, I don't know, I'm very fascinated with thinking about how much are we hypnotized. Yeah. Like there are layers of conditionings and even somebody like me who feels like I see a lot of things that I feel like a lot of people don't see. Yeah. I still am seeing how conditioned I am. Yeah. It's just, it starts with your parents and then it's the kindergarten and then it's the elementary school and it just goes on and on and on. It's just a layer and layer and layer of conditioning. So when you're talking about this period in your life, the good thing I would think is all of a sudden there are no conditionings kind of. You're just free. Yeah.
You're in the pure rawness of life.
Exactly.
There's no container there. I mean, obviously for me, I had a past. And you're always going to be shaped by that past. You know what I mean? That's always going to give you some perspective. And, you know, whatever traumas or peak experiences that you had up to that point, you know, I was 15, but I had plenty of traumas and peak experiences that shaped the way that I viewed things. But I also had a very raw experience to pull my experience from, you know. I remember like just sitting on the beach. I mean, this is just lovely, right? I'm just sitting on the beach, like cross-legged, picking up these tiny little shells in between, like when I'm hunting and gathering. And this is so typical of like hunters and gatherers. Like I felt like, you know, kind of like what Native Americans did. There was a very valuable shell in called the Keilani shell in Hawaii. And it's the only shell that's insured like a gem actually there. You can insure it. And I pick these little shells, and they're tiny little shells, and they come in all sorts of colors, like skin color to red, pink, you know. And I'd make necklaces with them. And it was just like such a meditative, beautiful process. And Sometimes now in my life as an adult, and especially here in Iceland, being in such a Western culture that is just such a rush kind of get shit done culture, that I miss these moments of just being.
Exactly.
If
you have these two flip sides, like human being and human doing, we are way on leaning towards the human doing thing. And I often wonder, like, is it possible? Because the good thing about security is you can plan ahead, and you're like, okay, I have a shelter over my head, I can have food in the fridge and the freezer for a certain while, I have money in my bank account, so I feel like even if I lose my job, even if I don't do anything, I have like a certain amount of period where I'm going to be safe. But with all this, the downside of all this safety is, I think, it's difficult to get truly into the now with too much safety. So I have traveled enough to see sometimes these people that are living in proximity with nature, and all that matters is just today. There are tribes in the Amazon, they don't know the concept of a refrigerator. The forest has provided them for centuries.
Exactly.
And it's just like, I don't need to store anything.
No.
I just wake up in the morning and I'll get what I need from the forest. And
that's the grocery store.
Exactly. And then there's something in you, I think, in your, just on a cellular level, you are more in the now, and then your nervous system is in a different place. And I don't know, the older I get, the more I see it's all about where your nervous system is situated. You can be a millionaire and have everything with a clogged and stressed nervous system, and you're just truly unhappy. And then you can be somebody, like when I go to Zanzibar, I see somebody and he has 2 melons and a mango,
and he's
chilling,
so happy,
and he's just so fucking happy.
So happy.
And the millionaire hasn't had a day like that for a decade.
No, exactly right.
So it's because there's something about it. Like, I mean, you've traveled a lot like me. When you go to these countries around the equator where it's not fake, you just see the smiles on the people's faces. There is a certain level of happiness there that it's just like, where did we lose this? And they have less. So I've been thinking, what is it? One thing is definitely the weather is better. So you get a lot of sunlight, you walk barefoot, you do things that are good for your body. And another is, I think, community. Because you don't have all these big houses, and if you have a big house, there will have to be 30 people living there. So you're always around people. You're always socially connected. But then there's probably something also, just the nervous system is more regulated.
I think so. I think it has a lot to do with just our connection to nature, their connection to nature. Like every time we land in somewhere warm and beautiful in the equator, there's just like there's like a slowdown, and you just gotta slow down with everybody. And I love that, because it's just the vibe of society in these regions, And I think you're exactly right. I think it has so much to do with being closer to nature, getting plenty of sunshine, being able to be in less clothes, less shelter, and being closer to people and more reliant on people. You know, like the communities are like, they're completely dependent on everybody. And I think in the Western culture, we've come really far away from that. We kind of look at hyper-independence as this beautiful thing. Like, I want to just be completely independent of, everyone. But the reality is we're all dependent on everyone. Like when you go to the store and you go purchase something, no matter how independent you are, if you live in a beautiful condo by yourself and you just feel like self-resourced, but you go to the store and you buy something there, how many hands did that have to pass through before it got to you? And you depend on all those people.
Absolutely. And I think the more you are living in a city in the Western world, the more you're obviously disconnected from this, the more you will need to, let's say we have a cacao here, and it's like, usually it's just like, I just drink the cacao, or there's a steak, I just eat the steak. But if you're living in proximity with nature, you know where the steak came from.
Exactly.
You know where the cacao came from.
And how many children these days have no idea where that food comes from? They go to the grocery store with their parents. They're looking at the meat aisle. They have no idea that this lamb was actually an animal, or what avocado tree looks like, or what orange tree looks like. They've never picked an orange off of a tree. It's really interesting too here in Iceland, because so much of our produce comes from abroad. That a lot of younger Icelanders have never seen what these things are. Like my wife, for instance, when we're traveling through countries, I can't tell you how many firsts we've had where she picks her first orange or picks her first mandarin or picks her first apple off the tree. And I'm like, that to me is shocking.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It is.
Because she's been eating apples for a long time. She's been eating oranges for quite some time, but like has never actually picked it off a tree.
Yeah, and I feel like there's something that happens. For example, I mentioned Zanzibar quite a lot here because I've gone there so often and I love the place. But there's something about when you start to do that and you start to see, then it's like all of a sudden an avocado is not just an avocado. You start to think, the soil here is really good.
Yeah.
It just came from the neighborhood, but the avocado I buy from the shop here, where did it come from?
Yeah.
Is it like in some big factory farmed land where there's been a lot of things sprayed on it? Has it traveled with ship or an airplane? How long has it been in the shop? It's just not the same avocado.
Definitely not. And I mean, like, right now I'm on a cleanse. I'm doing this cleanse where I'm no animal products and it's just like a plant-based diet again. And you know, my wife and I were vegan for a while when we first lived in Iceland. And you know, you got to be a certain kind of hardcore to be vegan here.
Yeah.
And eat whole foods, because you look at our vegetable aisle and it is like definitely second grade vegetables. I mean, all this is being shipped in from who knows where.
Absolutely.
How long has it been on a ship? I mean, just looking at the broccoli, like I've never seen like it was shocking to see produce like being sold when it's moldy. You know what I mean? It's like moldy and it's brown and people are buying it. It's like in the store is selling. And it's like, to me, that's crazy, because you've lived in other countries too and traveled to so many other countries. Produce is beautiful.
Yeah.
It's green. It's fresh. It's gorgeous.
I hardly ever eat fruits when I'm in Iceland.
Yeah.
But as soon as I'm in Zanzibar, I'm snacking on fruits all day long, because it's just not the same fruits.
Yeah.
And my intuition is just like, this is proper nutrition here.
Yeah.
But and again, so if I mention Zanzibar again, because to go back to what we were talking about earlier, with like being in a community, it was really eye-opening for me when I'm there. It's such an interesting place because you have all these really nice resorts, hotels, even like hipster cafes or whatever. But in between, there's just old Africa. A house made of stone. The doors are just open.
Yeah.
It's super basic, but it's in a really good location.
Exactly.
So and then because I'm interested in buying a land there, I said, okay, this house here, it has a garden and stuff. It's a 1-minute walk to the beach in the biggest tourist area.
Yeah.
Why is there? Because in so many tourist places, you would never find something like this because it's already been bought. So I started to ask around, like, why do these people don't sell? I mean, for them, it's a lot of money. You might be getting like like 5-7 million Icelandic for just a very simple, basic cabin with a little land, which for them is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And then people start to tell me, well, where are they going to go? They are part of this village.
Yeah.
Everybody they know is from the village.
Yeah.
They help each other out, even if they have kids. They're not raising the kid on their own.
Yeah.
And that has happened to me a few times in Zanzibar. I've just seen like a 1.5 or a 2-year-old kid running along on the beach, and I'm just like, where are the parents?
Yeah.
And nobody's worried because everybody knows the kid.
Exactly.
Everybody is raising the kid with the parents.
Exactly.
It's so different from our reality.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and that's why there is this loneliness pandemic in the big cities and stuff. I feel like we humans, we are made for being in tribes.
Yeah, we've been in this like what we call progress, but this progress is isolating everybody from each other. You know, capitalism. I feel like there's this feeling of the United States like really pushing this like capitalist idea of having your own of everything. You know. And it's been to the detriment of families there. And I think it's kind of becoming an epidemic of the Western world, is that like the individualism, capitalist idea is separating families and separating people from each other, isolating them in their own fancy homes that they can't afford, in their own cars and their own, office cubicle or whatever it is,
Exactly.
to the point that they're feeling disconnected so much that they're depressed and they're unhealthy and they're seeking what connection, essentially, what this poor villager. What is that? There's that really good saying about the fishing. You know what I mean? Like, like the.
You're not talking about the
There's like the millionaire that talks to the fisherman about like how to expand his fishing fleet.
I've heard that one.
Yeah, and he just like talks about like borrowing money to get 2 boats, and then borrowing money to get 4 boats, and like keeping going like this until eventually he has so much money that he can just go back to his 1 boat that he had and fish on a daily basis.
Exactly.
And he's like, but that's what I do now. Like, why? You know what I mean? Why would I go do that? And I think that's the illusion that a lot of people are buying into, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, there is this. I mean, it's kind of like a cliche. This saying, I think it comes from Dalai Lama, which is like, I don't understand people. You spend the first half of your life ruining your health to make money, so that you can spend the second half of your life spending the money on trying to get your health back. But it is true.
Yeah, it's so true, and it makes no sense. It makes no sense. As you get older, like I don't know exactly how old you are, but you get older, and I just turned 45, and I'm
47,
and I'm feeling like. It's like, the older you get, the less you're in your body to enjoy the pleasures that you did when that you felt when you were younger. Mm-hmm. So like, why would I wait till 65 to have the free time to go lay on that beach and jump in the water? I mean, are you kidding me? Absolutely. Like, this is the time to do it.
I can say 2 stories from Raki now. Like, you're gonna meet him. Tomorrow. Yeah. One of them is like one of his friends, because he went through this cancer, and that really opened his eyes. I don't think I'm hanging around with anybody that has come so close to death and just really contemplated on it. So he told me a story of one of his friends that is like he had this lifelong dream of going to Machu Picchu to hike.
Okay.
And then he finally did it. I mean, a lot of people at least this guy did it. A lot of people don't do it because they wait too long.
Yeah.
At least this guy didn't wait that long. He did it. But when he came back, he was like, should have done it when I was younger because my body was not really up for it.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's such a good reminder of don't wait. Don't wait. Like this thing of like, I'm going to do things when I retire.
Yeah.
I just feel like we should flip that all around. You should be working on something that inspires you enough that I'm like, I hopefully I'm never going to retire.
Yeah.
I would love to be sitting here 75, 78, talking to interesting people.
Yeah.
But I will control my own time. Mm-hmm. I can work as I want, but I don't know why I would retire. Yeah. I'm doing something that I love.
Yeah.
And it's just an illusion to have this when thing.
Yeah.
I will do it when.
Yeah, and it's a great excuse not to follow your passions.
Yeah, and the second thing is, I was sitting with this coming in a whole circle. Yeah. I was sitting by a fire with Raki once, and all of a sudden he says like, are we just going to end up here? Like, we started here drumming by the fire, singing, telling stories, and then we built all these cities and all these buildings and stress ourselves to death to just come back to the fire and be like, this is what it was all about.
Exactly. Exactly. But I mean, isn't that the human condition?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like the hero's journey. It's like we all like come here to experience suffering in some way or form.
Yeah.
The highs, the lows. I think like, when we're, my belief is when we're spiritual beings and we sign up to be in the human body, we sign up to forget and then to remember and go through the whole process of remembering.
Absolutely.
And that process of remembering is not easy. It includes a lot of suffering. It includes a lot of pleasure too. If you're lucky, you can tap into that.
Absolutely. And also this thing of, I think there is something innate in humans. We want to expand. Mm-hmm. We want to expand. Mm-hmm. We want to be limitless. Mm-hmm. But when we put it too much into materialism, then we are like more for me. And it's a wrong way to be like, it is beautiful that we want to expand.
Yeah.
But you can have like, I want to spread more love to people. I want to know more great people. I want to expand in that. And that's limitless. There's you're only doing good to others by expanding more.
Yeah.
But with this, I don't know, with this conditioning on all this material, I have to have more for me. And if all your expansion is looking at your bank account, then it has to be more, and you don't even, and then you wake up and you're on your deathbed and you're like, what the hell was I doing?
Yeah, what's it for?
What's it for?
Have you ever calculated how much you have to spend per minute with, like, if you had $1 billion? It's insane.
Yeah.
It's like hundreds of millions of kroner like every minute that you'd have to spend to spend it in like 30 years or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, because I had to recondition myself when it comes to money, because I'm kind of like you. I was my parents are hippies, and it was kind of like the money people are not good people. Yeah, which I had to recondition myself because I know a lot of great people who have a lot of money, and I think money is great. I think, especially if you're a good person, you can use money to do so good things.
Exactly.
But having said that, I think so many things that are wrong in the world come from greed and come from fear, because if you always need more for yourself, and it doesn't matter, you're up to 100 million, and then you need 200, and then you need 1 billion, and then you need 5 billion, and then, and I just see super rich people. There was a guy I talked to the other day, and he was just like, there are so few people who manage to climb to the top of the mountain in this capitalistic game, meaning becoming a billionaire. Yeah. But this guy said, but I know quite a few guys like me who have done that. Out of the ones who get to the top of the mountain, there are even less percentage who manage to go down and become sane again. Yeah. The money starts to own you. Yeah. Completely. Yeah. And that's why I think it's just always like an internal state. It's like if you're not doing something now, you always have this when. And it's like the millionaire has the same fear as an ordinary person. He's just like, when I have 5, when I have 10, when I have 20. But the when is just going to continue if you never work on yourself internally to be like, I have enough. Yeah.
Yeah, that enough feeling is like, it's so elusive for so many people, you know. What is enough? What is enough? Is enough like a month? Is, to pay your expenses? Is 6 months? Is a year?
Well, like, I genuinely feel like, and I feel this on myself, like person with a fully regulated nervous system doesn't need anything. Yeah. Because the nervous system is in enough abundance to know I will be provided for.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a part of nature. I was not meant to die here.
No.
There is plenty for everybody. Yeah. I will be provided for.
And that comes back to the connection. Right?
Absolutely.
Like if you're connected to what is, like if you're connected to nature and you're connected to the universe, you're connected to know that you're a part of everything. And if you're a part of everything and you're part of life, like you're supported by the universe. Yeah. The universe supports you. The universe wants you to thrive because you're a living being and life is 100%. Supposed to thrive, 100%. Until it dies. And then that's just part of the process of death and life. But while you're alive, you are being supported to thrive, and feeling that connection is that's the abundance, that knowingness 100%. That you just talked about, like feeling like you're going to be provided for no matter what.
Yeah,
that's the enough.
I remember I remember this. I didn't even take a lot, but I had this psychedelic session with Esther in 2024 in July in Zanzibar, and it was like 1 gram of mushroom or something, and just not a lot. I have taken way higher doses, but there was something about it. We managed to somehow, I don't know, because she's from there, we managed to just connect to the spirits. And I remember the days after it, I was just walking on the beach, and I just felt like I was in heaven for days after it. And I was just like, how on earth can I be so clogged when it comes to money? How on earth can I really feel like things are not okay? Yeah. It just didn't make sense to me. Yeah. And that's when you tap into, even if it's just a short time, if you tap into that, you really know, if I manage to be in that state, everything is okay.
Exactly.
Everything will be okay.
Yeah. And you feel okay.
So what you should be striving for is that state.
Yeah.
You should be striving for that internal state instead of striving for, if I have more, then I will. No.
Yeah.
I've had a lot in my bank account and felt like I don't want to live.
Exactly.
And I've had a really little in my bank account and felt abundant and great.
Yeah. It's funny because my wife and I travel a lot. And it's not like we're high earners. We don't earn a ton of money. But so people are always like, how do you travel so much? How are you able to do it? Like thinking that it's completely unfeasible for them because it's like they make more money than us, you know? But that's such an illusion.
It is.
And people love to use that excuse that they just don't have enough to do the things that they want to do. If you just want to do the things you want to do it. You know, that's
100%.
kind of what we do. We like, if we want to go somewhere and we spend a few months there, we'll buy a ticket and we'll figure it out. You know
100%. And I feel like people are often projecting their week-long Tenerife trip.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that you and Tina are doing it similarly to me and Esther.
Yeah.
You have a few hacks.
Definitely.
You know how to, like, if you're staying in a place for a month, you ask around and you can get a good deal on accommodation.
Yeah.
Your transport is going to be cheaper. You just rent a scooter somewhere and then they give it to you for a good price. You're not shopping every day.
No.
So a week in Tenerife for most Icelandic people is more expensive than a month in Zanzibar for me.
Exactly. And most places we go are like that. You know, if we go to Thailand or Sri Lanka or wherever, some Latin American country, everything is a quarter of the price here, you know? And also, like we were talking about before, because you're living so much closer to the earth, you need less.
Absolutely.
I need less clothes. I need less baggage. I need less food even. Like I'm not even as hungry. Like in the winter here, I feel like I'm always like eating a lot and I want really rich food, which is like meat and like more of these expensive foods. But when you're in a warmer climate, you know, and you just need to wear flip-flops, like a smoothie here and there, some fruit, a papaya in the morning, and I'm good to go. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. And when I elaborate on what you said earlier about clothes, and you said less clothes, less shelters. I've never heard anybody put it that way, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Would you consider, because I feel a lot about, like, when I go to these warmer places, I think, okay, like when it comes to sexuality, nudity, again, like the conditionings here in Iceland, because of the weather conditions, we are so used to sheltering us in clothes. Because when you go to places like, I don't know, like a beach in Colombia or something, it's like nudity isn't an issue.
Yeah.
But here we've made it into something, so we have an exaggerated interest in sex in a very skewed way, I feel like.
Yeah, it's definitely very skewed. It's interesting because you know, our showers were always naked, right, here? Like the men and the women with the women. I had this experience where I was like, we were at a hot springs outside of town, outside of Akureyri. And we were naked in the changing room, and it was a co-ed, you know, women and men. And everybody was like just shocked, like, oh my God, like everybody's naked. You know, it was this crazy thing for them. And I was like, wait a second, you guys, like we were just naked together, you know, at the pool. And because it was out of context, it was just like this crazy thing. Yeah. But, you know, speaking of that here, it's like when I started first dating my wife, Tina, I got to learn about the dating culture in Iceland, you know, and I was just thrown back at how sad it sounded. You know, like people getting drunk at a bar and just hooking up, and then if they enjoyed that hookup, they might get drunk at the bar and hook up with them again, and if that happens, like maybe it becomes a relationship. You know?
Absolutely.
And I'm like that. To me, coming from the West Coast in the States, that's insane, you know, because we have such a dating culture. It's like so much about like going on that walk together, going to the restaurant together, like seeing each other in the daylight and talking. You know what I mean? So there's like, you know, and then of course you hear like that there's a lot of like drunk adultery and cheating and all of that here, because it's that kind of...
I think there is like an ancestral shame around sexuality in this country.
Definitely.
But what is it with, when you mentioned the changing rooms in the pool, I feel like at least in some parts of the US, they're even worse than in Iceland. Because I remember I've once been a tour guide in my life. And I had 2 Americans, and when they was like, am I gonna change my clothes in front of other guys? No chance. So they went into the bathroom because to be naked around another guy wasn't an option. And even just not having the swimsuit on in the shower, I can't do it. And I was just like, okay, that's an interesting
But I mean, that's
condition.
the difference in the United States. I mean, there's so many different parts of the United States. So
absolutely.
If you're somebody from the West Coast, you're usually comfortable with being nude. You're comfortable with sexuality. You're comfortable talking about like open things. It's a very open society on that part of the United States. On the middle and the East Coast is a totally different story. You know, people are just not used to that. You know, it's definitely more closed off. You know, the religious shaming has a lot to play into it. You know, it's very religious in the Bible Belt and things like that. So that's a reason that would happen when some of these tourists come over. They're freaking out.
Super interesting.
It's so interesting.
And also like when you talked about being homeless in Hawaii, I've often thought like some of the most, of course there are people in this world who are going through things that are just beyond miserable, and God bless them, but a human condition where you're poor in a really cold place, that is bad.
That is bad.
I would, like, I when I was spending 2 months in Los Angeles, and I saw all these homeless guys, they kind of had a community within them. There's a lot of sun there, and I was just like, okay, being homeless here versus being a poor person in Siberia.
Exactly.
I'd rather be the homeless person here all day long. So that's why, like, for example, when somebody's homeless in Iceland or something, that's bad.
It's really rough.
Bad,
It's really rough. Yeah. I would not wish that for anyone, you know. And luckily, like, we have a good, you know, social net for people here compared to the United States. Like, the United States is horrible when it comes to homeless, you know, especially after the pandemic.
I haven't been to the US after COVID.
Yeah, it's changed so much. It's changed so much. There's like huge homeless camps now, like cities that are just like in between towns. And
I heard somewhere that there's like 100,000 homeless people in California or something.
Yeah, at least.
It's ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous. It's so insane. Yeah, and fentanyl changed everything too. You know, like as soon as fentanyl started coming in, it's like now there's even more homeless that are, you know, because like the fentanyl just destroys families, destroys people. And
And diving into what we were going to talk about, health. I really love what this government is doing on just that. Like Bobby Kennedy, it seems like, I mean, he wants to ban rapeseed oils. He wants to go against the pharmaceutical industry.
Exactly.
And he seems super healthy. That's like, there was this funny picture going around in COVID where it was like a picture of, I think, 8 health ministers in the biggest countries, and they were all super unhealthy.
Exactly.
And these are the
RFK.
people making decisions. And RFK, I mean, at least he seems like he's a person living a very healthy life.
Yeah, and he seems to be like, his heart is in a good place.
Absolutely.
You know, like he really wants to help people.
Absolutely.
It's not like he's in the pockets of the big pharmaceutical companies and he's, you know, just trying to get rich really quickly.
Because talking about pandemics and weaving it into what we've been talking about, like I feel like after the Second World War, the food industry, mainly in the US, started to all of a sudden, there were things coming in like additives, things that are just not for humans. And somehow they were allowed more and more and more. And then usually the Western world picks up what the US is doing.
Exactly.
And I somehow feel like the biggest pandemic that's going on, I mean, we mentioned the fentanyl, that's a big pandemic, but it's like... But
the opioid crisis is even worse. And that's what led to the fentanyl crisis, actually.
But if you're talking about the biggest pandemic which is affecting basically everybody, is this hypnosis regarding food. You go to the supermarket and it's like, I am sorry, 90% of what's in the stores is just hardly food.
Tin and I, when we go into the grocery store, there's actually a small section of the store that we actually shop in.
Yeah.
The rest of it we don't even look at.
Exactly.
Because it's not really available to us, you know. That's not what we eat.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's so weird when you start thinking about that. Like if you want to eat healthy whole foods, walk into the store and just realize how little of the store is actually like healthy whole foods.
Yeah.
It's very little. Like the rest of it is just all processed junk. You know?
It is. And I feel like, I don't know, I am so much for self-responsibility and like the individual being responsible for their own life.
Yeah.
So in the end, I'm a fully grown man. I can read.
Yeah.
I can see what's healthy and what's unhealthy.
Exactly.
But having said that, we are creatures of society. And it would be way easier for me if I'm all of a sudden in a day where I haven't organized myself, I'm in a rush, and I go to a shop. I cannot buy nuts without rapeseed oil.
No, exactly.
Like, it would be easier if we would all together be like, hey, let's slowly start to get out of this hypnosis here.
This rapeseed oil thing is driving me nuts. Like, I mean, it's in everything. Like, if you're really trying to avoid seed oils, it's like it's crazy nowadays that it's almost impossible. Even the meat that we have in like bonus or kronen, like the lamb that's marinated, that's rapeseed oil is marinated in. And you're like, really? Like, how do they, why? Yeah, even seasoning. We bought some seasoning the other day. Didn't even realize that it had rapeseed oil in the seasoning. I'm like, this is a dry, powdery like substance. Like, how could it have rapeseed oil in it? Why?
There are products where if I would be a more conspiracy theorist than I am, I would be like, it would be way easier to make this product without rapeseed oil. So you're actually putting an extra effort and extra money into somehow squeezing it into everything.
Exactly.
Why on earth are you doing it?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, if like there are conspiracy people who say like there are powers who are just trying to poison us.
Yeah. I mean, if you were to look at it from a capitalist standpoint, it doesn't even need to be that conspiratorial, right? If you're a huge pharmaceutical company and you want to get as much business as possible, the more sick people, the better. And if you're slowly poisoning them with creating inflamed internal systems, like their bodies are inflamed internally, then they're going to have more different types of diseases building up in them that they're going to need some kind of medication for.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, then it's like the slow burn of inflammation is going to, cause chronic depression.
Absolutely.
And all sorts of different types of other diseases. I mean, it's crazy when you look, if you're really trying to be healthy, if you're really trying to eat healthy, and nowadays, it's like being a ninja. You need to do like all sorts of training, you know what I mean? Like you need to be able to do backflips and all sorts of stuff. It's like, it's crazy, it's a lot of work. So yeah, I mean, I recommend it, but at the same time, like be ready to do some serious work if you want to be healthy in this day and age,
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've mentioned them probably quite a few times in these episodes, Númi and Elín.
Yeah.
Because they have 3 kids and they both have demanding jobs. I'm like, they are such an example of somehow they wake up super early so that they have an hour for themselves before they wake up the kids.
Yeah.
Somehow they're always home cooking healthy food. And I'm just like, how on earth? But I think a part of why they're able to do it is because they are not in the vicious cycle of not having energy.
Yeah.
Because they live so healthy, they have the energy needed to be always on alert.
Yeah.
And always doing it correctly.
Yeah.
You're doing a cleanse now. You're already feeling the benefits a bit.
Yeah, I definitely am. So the cleanse is from this book, Grow a New Body. And I can't remember the author's name, but he's got a protocol. It's like 3 weeks of a cleanup phase. So we're no sugars, no like sweeteners of any sort, not even stevia. Like we're trying to get off of that need to have something sweet. You know what I mean? Which is really interesting because like that's like my Achilles heel. I love having sweets.
Yeah, same here.
So this has been like the hardest part of it to get off. But then no animal products, no dairy, no butter, no meats, nothing like that. And also just no nightshades, So essentially, it's, we're eating vegetables, some beans, but not too much protein, actually, because we're trying to reduce the amount of mTOR in the body. mTOR is like, it's cellular growth.
Was it called like autophagy when the body starts to eat its own protein?
Autophagy.
Yeah, autophagy. Yeah, exactly.
That's what you go into after 18 hours of fasting. You go into autophagy.
Yeah, and the body is so clever that it starts to eat the protein that it should get rid of.
It's cleansing the cells in really clean way. So it's like eating all the bad cells. Yeah. It's eating all of the bad mitochondria that would eventually turn into a cancer cell. We all have like cancer cells in us all the time. It's just that our bodies are usually pretty good at cleaning it up, that it doesn't turn into something.
Exactly.
Exactly. And
no, because when you said that, when you told me you were doing a cleanse, even if like I am probably living a healthier life than 90% of the people out there.
Yeah.
I'm hiking almost every day.
Yeah.
I kind of eat healthy, but I know myself enough to know there is this fog over my system because my diet hasn't been perfect. Exactly. There is rapeseed oil here and there is sugar, and I just know if I do something like you're doing, I know myself. On day number 3, I'm going to be like, what have I been doing? Yeah. This is how it feels to be alive.
Yeah. I mean, things get a little bit lighter, more clear, you know, like you're a little bit more awake. This is so interesting because, and I'm totally guilty of this too. I love to sometimes drop into the pleasure of having ice cream or a croissant or whatever that is, and it's such a nice like tactile pleasure to enjoy, like the texture, the taste, the sweetness. But I know I always feel like crap afterwards. Yeah. And if I were to indulge too much in that, my whole system would feel horrible, right? So like it's always like this funny balance, because if I'm able to be disciplined enough to stay away from that stuff, disciplined enough to like go for like the bitters, like the bitter greens and vegetables and like having unsweetened cacao, and you know what I mean? All of the stuff, I know that I'm going to feel much better, like internally. Yeah. But it's like, it's this balance constantly, right? Because it's like...
And I feel like for me at least, the hypnosis is that it's not until I'm into a cleanse or a fasting or something that I realize I've been in a hypnosis. Yeah. So then I'm like, now it all seems so clear, it all seems so easy. Yeah. And you do the correct thing. And then at some point, there's a stress in your life, and you start to slide off the wagon. Yeah. You have a little bit of things that are inflaming you. Yeah. You're a little bit more inflamed. And before you know it, you're having a croissant here, you're having this there. Yeah. And you don't even know. It's like the guy who is looking is blind and he's looking for his glasses.
And then eventually you wake up again and you're like, oh shit, like I did this. Yeah. And there's a social aspect to it too. It's like drinking. I don't drink alcohol. But I mean, when I did, it was such like a social bonding thing. Like you go to the bar, you have a beer, everybody else has a beer, something, or at a party, and something about having the drink in your hand and drinking with them, and losing your guards by getting a little bit buzzed or drunk. Like it allows you to have these conversations that you normally wouldn't have this connection that you normally wouldn't have.
But I feel like slowly, at least for me, slowly, the people you attract around you are people who are just living a healthy life and respect that you want to live a healthy life too. Yeah. So even what came to me now when you're talking about your cleanse, because we're going to invite you guys tomorrow, and it's like we're going to have a really nice meat. And I was like, okay, they cannot have meat. And like, okay, we're going to have good root vegetables and stuff. So that's what I love, like being around these people like Raki, Numi, Anna and Kristen, these people, because they make me healthier.
Exactly.
And when I go for a dinner, like when me and Esther came to you and dinner for dinner, you kind of know they are going to feed me healthy food.
Exactly, yeah.
Before it was like, if I have to socialize, I have to drink alcohol, I have to eat unhealthy food, I have to do all this. But slowly you're being around people who want the same as you want. Yeah. And then it's like, wow, okay. All of a sudden the social gathering is earlier in the night because everybody wants a good sleep. Yeah. All of a sudden there's a healthy food because everybody wants to be healthy. Yeah. Who decided that we had to be... drinking until 4 o'clock in the night, feeling like shit.
It's like, Yeah, who sold that idea?
No, because I think like when you're in college or when people start this drinking culture thing, if the society would be like, there's also, you can also socialize by going to kirtan, a cacao ceremony, eat healthy food.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of people who would rather want that, but that's not an option.
Yeah. Or it is an option, but they're too scared to try it.
I mean, when you're like 18, 19, you will always be the odd one out if you're not going to just
big time
be drinking and do. So it's like you have to make a choice. Either I do this or I'm just going to be alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we don't want to be alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, other things are stigmatized too. Like, oh, that's dorky. Or that's that's like just uncool to go to kirtan or something instead of going and drinking with your buddies. Yeah.
What about, I saw you posting yesterday about microplastics.
Yeah.
That's another one of these things.
Oh my God. When does it end? You know what I mean? It's like, like the rabbit hole just goes and goes and goes. Like, I mean, of course, a lot of this stuff is basic common sense when it comes down to it. It's like, okay, if we're living as close as we can to nature, we're using basic tools, basic materials. We have wood cutting boards, we have iron knives, like steel knives. We're doing basic things, but like because we've progressed in this direction for so long of manufacturing and capitalism. Like you look in somebody's house and it's just everything's toxic. You're wearing plastic clothes. You're cooking on non-stick pans, all sorts of nasty forever chemicals that is getting into your food. You're microwaving in plastic, Tupperware.
Yeah.
And even the food that you're microwaving in your plastic Tupperware is got, Roundup Ready, chemicals on it, or it's a GMO, that already has like some chemical alteration to it. Maybe it's been sprayed to ripen here in Iceland as well, and I mean, it's just like, and then you have these microplastics, you have the forever chemicals, you have just so many environmental factors that are against us.
Yeah.
That are making life difficult for most of us. And we wonder why we're frustrated when we're in the car. You know what I mean? Or when the kids do this thing. Yeah. And you're just like, why am I yelling at my kid? I love my kid.
Yeah.
And it's not that you want to be that person, but it's just that there's so much inflammation in the body. There's, your endocrine system is thrown off. That you're not able to be the person that you are.
Absolutely.
A lot of the time.
Absolutely.
You're in a slightly unhealthy state. You're in a slightly agitated state because your body is fighting all the toxins that it's dealing with on a daily basis. That's like one thing that we are trying to avoid, wearing natural clothes, getting to bed early enough. Like my routine is a job in itself. Sometimes I joke about that, what I mean? Like if I were to be completely healthy in the way that I want to, it's like a full-time gig, what I mean? Like you can't have a regular job. You would have to our morning routine is we wake up early, we do breath work, we do meditation, we have our cacao ceremony together where we reflect on the past days, the past weeks, or like make a manifestation list, we usually go for a nature walk after that, and then we spend a little bit of time by a stream or something, get that nature session in, ground our feet into the soil, into the land, breathe as much fresh air as possible.
Absolutely.
And then there's like, of course there's this middle part of the day that's, a nice time of the day to get things done. But then the evening, there's a whole evening routine, putting the blue blockers on, like lighting the candles. If you come over to our place in the evening and we have candles lit everywhere, we try not to use the artificial lights, you know what I mean? So we're not getting too much blue light.
Yeah, I think I have, because I wrote a whole book about health, and because I was in such a bad place myself after having crashed with a bad burnout and stuff, so I had to, and I went from a doctor to doctor, and they didn't figure anything out, and then I started to do all these alternative things, and slowly reclaim my health. And there was a time when I was like, oh, like what we're talking about now, it's like, oh my God, this is everywhere, and it is everything. So then I just decided to like, okay, I just have to pick my battles.
Yes, exactly. And that's what it is.
Because if, like you say, if you would want to be in the optimal lighting, you just can't be in a city.
No.
There are bad lights everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, what are the big things that I would say you start with the big things?
Yeah, low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody starts their day every day with eating a lot of high glycemic carbohydrates, it's like, okay, let's start there.
Yeah.
Let's start there.
Yeah.
Can you have eggs and avocado in the morning?
Yeah.
That alone is going to make you 30% better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can start with the big things and then you can slowly decide where do you want to stop? And you might feel like, okay, I just want to be fully healthy, but then you're probably going to have to get the hell out of the city.
Yeah.
And like you said, you're going to have to organize your life around optimizing your health.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, like back to what you were talking about, having a community of healthy people around you is making you healthier.
Absolutely.
That's the easiest hack to get there, right? If you can, you surround yourself with the people that are going to show you the way. And I mean, that's what they say is like we're the culmination of the 5 closest people to us. And I totally believe that. I mean,
it's not going to be an option. We're going to serve meat tomorrow. Mm-hmm. It's not going to be an option to, in the sauces, we're going to have avocado oil.
Yeah.
It would not be option to serve that to Numi or these people. They would just not eat it.
No, exactly. Nobody would be into it, you know. And they'd be like, what the hell are you doing? Are you trying to poison us, you know? Like, they'd probably get angry about it. They wouldn't get angry because their nervous systems were regulated. Yeah, they'd probably do a little bit of breath work and meditation before they would have like a conscious discussion with you about it, but then they would bring it to your attention and they would...
No, but that is so true. Like, and that is why I think about this responsibility of the individual versus the society. And I feel like I am blessed and lucky enough to be around healthy people, but there's a lot of people who are maybe want to be healthier, but everybody around them is living a very unhealthy life, and they're even always picking on them.
Yeah.
Why don't you drink?
Yeah.
Come on, you want to have this food. Don't you want to allow yourself a little? What's wrong with you?
How often do you hear that too? It's so common. It's so common to just be hanging out with some people and be like, you're not going to have any of this? Are you crazy? Like, this cake is delicious. You know what I mean? And I'm like, you're going to have that? Do you know what's in it? You know, like, do you know how long it takes for those chemicals to flush through your system? Do you know, like, what's your testosterone level? You know, like, so... Yeah,
but what would you? Because I know, like me, you. I mean, and it's a funny word now. Conspiracy theories. It's a really funny word because so much of the conspiracy theories have
come true.
Ended up to come true. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I mean, most of the big ones.
It is ridiculous.
Most of the big ones have come true. Like, you know,
and I just feel like even people who are now talking about aliens, it's like there are. The current president of the US and the former president have both publicly stated that there is life outside of us and they have it from classified information. It's like, okay, is that still a conspiracy theory? Or
But I mean, is that even that crazy? Like, really? Like, is it really that crazy? Like, the only reason it's crazy is because it was stigmatized so bad in the 1950s in the US. Like, there was such a campaign.
I think about like science. Science is all about exploring. I feel like in COVID and stuff, everybody's, you don't want to listen to the science. Science is exploring what we don't know.
Exactly.
Not what we do know.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, out of the spectrum that comes through our eyes, a human being can censor around 0.35% around of the whole spectrum. Yeah. We can hear around 1%. Yeah. But we know everything.
Yeah, exactly. We do know everything. And
so it's like, okay, how likely is it that there's nothing in the spectrum that we are just not sensing?
Exactly.
It is almost 100%.
Yeah. 100%. At least. There's just so much in this universe that we have no idea about. And the things that we take for granted all the time that we think we're so confident in, they change. Yeah. They change because like that is the process of science, you know. It's like disproving what we know. And like we know enough that like, of course our bridges stay standing unless they're blown up. And, you know what I mean? And our cars run and like we have all these... But I mean, like, talk about conspiracy theories. Like, you know, how many people know how a phone works? Like, if we lost some of these scientists that actually build these phones, like, how many people could reinvent the phone?
Exactly.
How quickly would it take to put us back into the Stone Age if just a handful of people disappeared?
Exactly.
You know, it's like we take all this stuff for granted. I mean, most people don't even know how the electricity gets to the light bulb in their house.
Absolutely.
How that even works.
Absolutely.
You know?
And that's what I thought about when you were talking about your teenage years and like spearfishing, and you're learning about life.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And so many people, me included, go through your whole childhood and teenage years, and you basically you're all of a sudden you're an adult and you're fully not self-sufficient if things go wrong.
Yeah.
You don't know how to figure out anything.
No.
But you're really good at school and you can remember things.
Yeah. And following the system, following the rules, and doing what you're told that was, you know, the way to go and be, and being in debt.
Exactly. I want to talk about a little bit about like you and Tinna and the things like how you guys met, and also the things that you're doing and what you're offering to people. And
so
have some rapeseed oil nuts.
Yeah, let's have some rapeseed. extra rapeseed oil in these. We're both into what's called acro yoga, which is a combination. I guess I shouldn't be eating while I'm talking about it. It's a combination of acrobatics and yoga. And it's really fun. It's really exciting movement, you know, and expression. It's beautiful. It's strengthening. It's playful. It takes a lot of communication, and it takes a lot of trust. And through that communication and trust, you create connection with people. And it's very like, I don't know, polyamorous, I should say, or something, because you're constantly changing, just like in a dance. You're changing partners quite a bit, and you're doing this thing with multiple people, and so you get this kind of community feel to it. I found this, you know, probably like 4 or 5 years before we met in 2017, and completely fell in love with it. I had a career as an engineer, a solar electric engineer before that. And I got burnt out of being in the office in the corporate life. And I found this, and along with my yoga and massage, and it was just like a great combination of things. And I actually got good at it really fast. And it was kind of fun because I was a little bit famous in the community for a bit, you know, like it was like in the early days of Instagram, actually. And I think like me and maybe just a few other people were posting photos about acro yoga, you know, and so it would get a lot of attention, and it was just like a beautiful way of sharing the expression of the body and what you can do with somebody else. But I loved it, and it's just completely dove into that side of the pool, into this practice. And through that, I decided to go to a training program to become a teacher. And that the only teaching program was in Montreal, Canada. So I had a friend that totally talked me into it. She was like, we're going to this thing. She talked me into going. So we signed up for this class. And it's a 30-day workshop to become a teacher. And I arrive, and Tinna's there too, you know. I didn't know her name or who she was at that point. I just knew she was a beautiful Nordic-looking goddess in the room that I had to get to know. And it was a funny process because there were so many people there, and you know, it was such an intense program. You're working out with these people and doing really like hard, intimate, high-risk movements all day, you know, from 7 in the morning until like 8 in the evening sometimes. And the interesting thing about her is she got hurt. She got injured right away. And so she had to just like sit and observe, and she would just have her pen and her paper there with her diary, and she would just kind of write what she would see. And I was so like, I found that so attractive that she was like able to have that stillness the calmness, the relaxed attitude around it. Like if that happened to me and I paid all this money and I traveled all this distance and I was doing this thing and I got injured like the first few days of this 30-day program, I'd go insane. I'd be so angry and just so frustrated. But she was there just sitting there so tranquil and still asking questions and, she couldn't participate, but she was participating. And that was like my first, like, wow, I have to get to know this girl, So we had like a beautiful beginning of our relationship there in Montreal. And Montreal is a very romantic city. I mean, it's like, especially in the summer, it's just, you'll just have to go sometime. It's like half French speaking, half English speaking.
Yeah.
And there's just really good food and really beautiful parks. And so we just completely fell in love with each other. But it was the funny thing is that we were just recently out of not recently, both of us were exactly 2 years out of our 7-year relationships. And when we started seeing each other, it was like she said that she didn't want to have a relationship, and I was like the same. I was like, yeah, we could just be friends, And so that was the way it started because we had gotten to this place that, when you're single and you're first single, you're like, especially out of a long-term relationship, you are seeking some kind of validation that you're still attractive, that you're still marketable, that you're still like somebody still wants you. So there's a certain sense of desperation and you're seeking another person. And both of us had just recently gotten to that place where we were completely content with being single. And what a nice place to be after you've been single for a while. It's just like, you know what, I'm not like desperate for it. Like if it comes, it comes, but I'm not like desperate for it. So we both expressed this. But by the end of the month, we were already talking about marriage. And then we had like a crazy start to our relationship. She ended up going to Cuba for a month with her ex of 7 years. They were like going to talk about their 7-year relationship while they spent a month together in Cuba. So that was a really big challenge. I went and taught a bunch of acro yoga at festivals around the West Coast of the United States at the same time. So yeah, there was a lot going on there.
My mom. I have answered my mom once on this podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Not now.
Yeah. But what other questions did you have about that?
No, the question is like you both are like health oriented, and now of course you guys have been together for
9 years.
Time. Yeah. So it's just like I just want to ask you about the things you're offering, like the cacao you have there in the bottle.
Yeah.
You are selling.
We have
premium cacao.
Yeah. We have a web shop called cacogull.is.
Cacogull.
Yeah. And that's actually another funny story. It happened the second winter that we were here in Iceland. And I think it was again in January or something like that. And it was one of these winters where it was really dark, really cold, really hard. Everything felt really harsh. And the winter was really getting to both of us, and we were just completely depressed, I remember a car broke down, and I mean, there was just so many things. We were just like barely scraping by with money, and it was just like one thing after another that was making life really challenging. And then out of nowhere, I was teaching yoga at this yoga studio up there. And out of nowhere, there was like a community that was passing through town and decided to offer a cacao ceremony at that yoga studio in Akureyri. And out of a whim, we just decided to go, And they even accepted me coming late because I had other work obligations. We show up, and it's, people are dressed a little bit crazy. It's like, I'm sure it's like how a lot of people expect these cacao ceremonies to be. Like who are these crazy people? You know what I mean? But it was some indigenous people from Latin America that had all sorts of dress on, had crazy fun instruments with them. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful ceremony. But what struck us the most was that when we had the cacao, it shifted our mindset completely. We went from feeling depressed and closed off to being super happy, feeling connected, feeling gratitude, feeling our heart open, feeling a lot of just expansion in that moment. And I remember afterwards asking the facilitators if they had put drugs in it. Because I was like, how could this be such a shift? And I wasn't sure if it was the environment or if it was the cacao or, So afterwards, I decided to experiment with cacao, or we did, and we couldn't find any good ceremonial cacao here in Iceland. So I ended up connecting with this woman in Guatemala that owned a farm there, and she agreed to send us some cacao all the way here to the north of Iceland, but she needed us to make like a small commitment of an order, which was like, 100 pounds, like 50 some kilos of cacao. And we're like, what? So we hesitated for a second, but we were like, let's just experiment. It made us feel so good. Like, what if we just experimented with this? Like, our life is short. We weren't thinking of it as a business at all at that point. We just wanted to experiment with it and see if it would make our life feel a little bit better. And so we ended up doing it. We just figured, like, if we didn't drink it, we would just, give it to friends or, whatever. It's got a long shelf life, so it would last. So anyways, we order it. And it gets there, and we have all of this cacao. And we just start drinking it like crazy because we have a ton of it. And it was amazing. It totally shifted our perspective. Like, all of a sudden, like, we were just having our own cacao ceremonies. We were like diving into like what it was about the cacao. We figured like, okay, what, like, of course I have a little bit of an engineering and scientific background. So I wanted to get into it, like what makes this, air quotes, heart opening, And so as I did more research, I realized that like there's actually a lot of science behind cacao. There's a lot of white papers out there of deep research into cacao and what it is. And it's amazing. Like, it's probably one of the biggest hidden superfoods that you can have. It's, these are just like the basic things, but it's got highest levels of magnesium of any food. It's higher antioxidants than blueberries. Yeah. That's crazy.
Like organic, good cacao and coffee have the highest polyphenols.
Yeah. Polyphenols are amazing. Yeah. They're amazing. And then you have a ton of serotonin and tryptophan, and that's like the feel-good hormones that the body needs. That's so like that plus this aspect of theobromine. It's got theobromine in it, and theobromine is a vasodilator. It opens up your blood capillaries, creates more oxygen and blood flow to your heart, to your brain, to your major organs. Of course, you're going to feel heart opening because essentially you're getting more blood to your heart. That in combination with the serotonin and the tryptophan is just going to give you this amazing heart-opening expansion feeling in the body, in the mind, in the heart. And that's so when you hear like these, people at cacao ceremony saying like it's heart-opening, that's essentially what it is, And then like, I can't remember, but it has about 11 of the essential minerals for the body that it needs, like out of the 14 that we need. So there's so many benefits to it. Also, like the fats, the cacao butter is such a high quality fat for the body to use as a fuel. And for us, it's worked as a hunger suppressant. So like I haven't eaten today. I just had some cacao this morning, and like typically we just have cacao in the morning, and we're good until lunch to have a meal.
Yeah, and what I like about your cacao, so I help you sell it, is that you also have these mushroom blend, and it's also like when I was making my cacao this morning from this big chunk. Yeah, it's nice to have it in these small plates. Yeah, so you don't have to be like cutting it, and it makes it more convenient for use.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the idea, is make it as convenient but high grade as possible. Because like what people don't understand about cacao is there's cacao, ceremonial grade cacao. What is that? That's essentially the most unadulterated, unprocessed version of the cacao bean that you can get. And all of our cacao is from a single origin, is from like one place in the world. It's not like this mixture of cacaos. Mm-hmm. What you get at the store, a powder, the powdered cacao that you would make something with, like a baked good, mm-hmm. that's been highly processed, where they've taken out the cacao butter, and you're losing a lot of the nutrients in that process. And then, when you have a chocolate bar at the store, what that is they're taking the powder then and they're mixing it with some other fats, sometimes cacao butter, sometimes other oils that aren't so good, and creating a chocolate bar, by mixing it with, dairy products and sugars and things like that. And then again, you're losing the quality of what this plant has to offer the human body.
And I think also, I don't know, there's also just, I remember when I read the first book I read by Joe Dispenza, You Are the Placebo.
Yeah.
There's also something, like you buy a cacao powder from Nestle or something.
Yeah.
And in the back of your ear, like, okay, I feel like this company is only about profit.
Yeah.
So they're probably just the only thing they're thinking about is how can I make this as cheap as possible.
And as much as possible. Yeah. Exactly.
So versus if you're buying something and you know where it comes from, it came from like organic farming, mm-hmm. It's like an honest trade, and you are making a ceremony around it. So when you drink it, you actually feel like you're nourishing yourself.
Yeah.
And I feel like half of the benefit is the placebo effect, at least.
Yeah.
So I think it's just when I'm buying supplements, I tend to buy, even if they're more expensive, if I buy something and I feel like it's of proper value.
Yeah.
When I put it in my mouth, I feel like I'm doing something good to myself. Yeah. But I cannot turn the blind eye if I buy a cheap supplement. I kind of know it's not good.
Exactly.
So when I put it in my mouth, I'm like, maybe this is not good for me.
Yeah.
And then the placebo effect is basically the opposite.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we're energetic beings. When like scientists, like when you're going down to the cell and the atom and everything, it's like it's just like there's just a bunch of empty space. We're just a bunch of empty space, and we're just light, and we're just energy. Then what we put in our mouth, like the energy of that, is important. Where it's come from, who's handled it, how it's gotten to you.
And I think that's why, like the quote unquote scientific way to look at things is like you look at something like whether it be cacao or some other food. It's like it has this much of magnesium, it has this of this of this.
Yeah.
But when I was doing all of my lectures around health, it came to me so strongly, and I try to always tell it's not only about what you eat, it's about how you eat.
Yes, that too.
And like, if you make a ceremony around something and it's a healthy, good product, the ceremony itself is also, you are putting good energy into it. And I mean, everybody's heard about this research with the water, where you have 2 glasses of water and one is being told bad words and the other kind words, and
it changes the structure of the water.
Completely changes.
Yeah.
So if you look at these blue zone people who have the most longevity, one of the things they have in common is they eat socially. Mm-hmm. Like they have food in good company, and somebody has cooked the food. Versus you might have the same chicken or beef or whatever, and it's been cooked in an industrial kitchen, and there's a whole different energy around it.
Yeah, because there's such a thing as integrity of food.
Absolutely.
There's integrity in the process.
Absolutely.
I love the story of the Colombian cacao we have. It comes from the Oaxaca tribe that's in the Sierra Nevadas of Guatemala. And they're a tribe of people, they actually grow a lot of different plants, not just cacao, but all sorts of plants. And they feel like they're the keepers of the world. Like they're keeping the balance of the world in place through their love of plants and how they raise plants and stuff like that. And they see us as the children.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because when we talked about earlier this process of, slowly remembering.
Yeah.
It's like, they're remembering and we're re-remembering, Yeah. But anyways, the cacao comes from them directly, from that tribe.
And that is also something that's like, I don't know, like when I'm buying like a coconut or a mango from somebody in Zanzibar, and I see this guy, he's always walking around the beach with his coconuts, he's just so honest, he's just grinding, trying to feed his family. When I buy the coconut from him, it's different than buying it from the fucking store.
Exactly.
It's very, very different. There's something so honest about it. It's like an honest old school, I have a product, you pay me directly for my product, you look me in the eyes while we're doing it.
And when you do that, you're supporting him, you're supporting his family, you're supporting him, like doing this thing, And I think that brings up another really important subject about empowerment, like, and having power. Like now, like this day and age, it's really easy to feel like really disempowered. Everything that's happening in the world, no matter who you vote for, things are still going to get screwed up, right? Yeah. But like the one thing that we do have in our power is our spending, how we spend money. Yeah. Like how we spend money is our vote. If you buy something that supports something else that you believe in, you're directly supporting that thing.
Absolutely.
Not saying that you shouldn't vote. You should definitely vote too. But like, just like the importance of every time you spend money, you're spending it in a direction that you want the world to go.
Absolutely.
And that's like a great thing to think about. Like I've always tried to buy organic food because not only do I want to be healthy, but I want the industry, I want the world to go in that direction. I want organic to be, again, just the normal baseline of food. I don't want all of the food to be sprayed. I don't want it to be GMO. So I'm monetarily, I know it's more expensive, but I pay for that because that's the direction I want the world to go.
Absolutely. That's such a, I mean, it sounds so easy, but like I was going over my goals for the year yesterday, and I went over my mission statement, and it's just so easy to be like, be the change you want to see in the world. Yeah. And it's so easy. You always want other people to do the initiative. Yeah. But if you don't have the initiative, how can you expect others to do it?
Exactly.
It's so simple. Yeah. I mean, and it's like, what do I matter in the grand scale of things? But if everybody thinks like that, nothing changes.
Exactly. Yeah. Then we're all victims, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about like the things outside of the cacao, the things that because you're both yoga teachers.
I'll talk a little bit about what actually Tina just graduated from. I was mentioning this to you a little bit the other day, but she just graduated from this school, this 2-year program to learn intimacy coaching. It's somatic intimacy coaching. So it's really interesting work. It's working somatically, meaning with the body. So, and it's working with people's sexuality. So, like, she's teaching people how to be in touch with their desires and their boundaries, which, like, obviously it translates more than just in their sexual life. It translates to life in general because we're constantly negotiating in life, like whether you're at work and you're negotiating with your boss about how much pay you get or what the job you're willing to do, you're negotiating like what your desires are and what your boundaries are. And that's essentially what she's teaching people in their sexuality, in their relationships, in their person, in their self. And it's really interesting because her work goes to the root of it, specifically the root.
That's actually a good point. We talked about it earlier about like how Icelandic people are kind of like obsessed with sex, but it's still frowned upon. But if you think about it, like, and when people hear about these things like sexologist or tantra, they immediately take it into something sexual.
Pornography is all they have for reference.
Yeah, but if you think about it, like maybe the biggest improvement you can make in your life is getting rid of shame. Yeah. That will like raise your frequency a lot because shame is a very low frequency. Yeah. And a lot of the things that most people are carrying when it comes to shame has to do with something sexual.
Yes, exactly.
So it relates to other areas in your life, of course.
Yeah. And I mean, how can you not? It's been thousands of years of religious shaming around sexuality, especially women. Women in particular, have been shamed constantly around their sexuality.
We could do a whole nother episode around that. I just listened to a podcast the other day.
Yeah.
There's a guy called Aaron Apke. I really love him. And he's a son of a priest, and he had to go away from it all to come back to it. And he's researched it so deeply. Yeah. And he's just Jesus had, I don't remember, 2 or 3 brothers, for sure. That's just a fact. But why can we not know about it? Because there was sex involved. But he's just no, look at the actual books and data he had. And even after he died, his older brother kept the religion going. Yeah. Until he died. Yeah. And this is just a fact. Yeah. But we cannot know about it. Yeah.
I mean, it's really fascinating because then you start to question, as mammals, as human mammals, we're such a strange species. But if you were to bring us back to what's our default? Are we monogamous as humans, Is that our default if we're living in tribes? Because if we take it back to there's this book, Sex at Dawn, that I read, and it kind of opened my mind a little bit about how humans are. And because you wonder why people cheat on each other, why, why there's so much dysfunction in relationships, and why we're seeking the type of intimacy that we do. And this book is fascinating because it talks about how monogamy didn't exist before agriculture. It came with agriculture because as we started to settle in one place, from being hunters and gatherers, that we traveled with the seasons to here or there to get the food that we needed in a small tribe of 150 people or less. We started to settle in one spot to take care of one piece of land. And when we did that, we needed to own that territory. And to own that territory, we had a family, a small nucleus. So one husband, one wife, and the kids. And then that became this whole thing. But to keep that husband from sleeping with the other wife next door, and then there being a conflict, and then one of them burning the other farm down, there needed to be some religious order, because the kingdom needed to tax these people to get the taxes that they needed. This is all in the book. It's
I think if you want to I think it's just this thing about order versus chaos. Yeah, I feel a lot of the rules. Mm-hmm. The good thing about them is okay, we need some sort of orders. Yeah, but when the order is taken too far, you're just a hypnotized slave under a wall of conditionings. Yeah.
And when people think of opening their mind, especially around sexuality, they think most often they're conditioned to think chaos. Yeah. To think destruction, it'll bring down the family, it'll cause some horrible drama, it'll be this or that. And that's what light needs to be brought to. And that's why I'm so proud of my wife for the work that she's doing, because it's challenging, and it's it's hitting at such a shadow of society that hasn't been talked about. Absolutely. People don't talk about sex. Absolutely. They don't talk about sex. They'll tell you what kind of recipes. Oh yeah, I cooked this amazing blah, 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 and here's the recipe. But they don't say hey, I had this amazing sex with my wife, and this is what led to it. You know what I mean? This is what opened her up to having such a beautiful, sweet connection. Mm-hmm. That doesn't exist. Those conversations aren't being had. And with men, I feel a lot of the time it's just it's a body count thing, It's how many people have you slept with, kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, it's about having that conversation, bringing it to the table.
Absolutely. What about yourself?
In what way?
If somebody wants to get some service from you. Yeah. I mean, I do. You're a knowledgeable guy. You've done a lot of things.
I do coaching. I do body work. I do a lot of different things. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's hard to kind of put me under I just ended a job recently being an engineer again, just trying that hat on once more to see if I wanted to be in it. So it's mostly, doing the coaching and the body work at the moment. But right now I'm in this transition period where I'm really just enjoying the transition again and kind of honing in on what my message is, what my offering is, and how I want to show up, because I do want to be of better service, to the world. This is a deep desire, I think, for a lot of us, but for me, it burns, to be of service in a really, really good way. And I mean, just here having this conversation with you, like, we brought up some really good subjects, and I feel like, like what you do here, these conversations that you're having, it's like it's of service, bringing people's awareness to different places is a huge service, because if we don't know, we don't know,
Yeah, exactly.
And so part of it is just being open. And
there's nothing better than getting a message from somebody who tells you that you've changed their life.
Yeah, exactly.
In a good way. There's nothing that beats that, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's so rewarding.
So rewarding.
I mean, I did solar projects on huge commercial buildings. Mm-hmm. And at the time, renewable energy was like, oh my God, you're solarizing this nasty big building that would otherwise run off of some horrible fossil fuels and create, all sorts of, pollutants. And it felt good, but like there was nobody saying, thank you so much. The air is so much cleaner. There's nobody there's no direct connection to anybody.
Yeah, and I feel like, there are people who are of great service in that way.
Yeah. That are underappreciated.
Yeah, but I personally, talking about remembering, I need more feedback.
Yeah.
So I remember, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If I don't get that, I can so easily start to think, it's just complete bullshit.
Exactly.
Like, why am I doing this?
Exactly.
I might as well quit. I have to be remembered very regularly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's important. That direct feedback too is like how we can navigate better to be of better service too. Like somebody telling you like, wow, you really changed my perspective, and now I use blue blockers at night and I'm sleeping so much better. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's changed everything. Mm-hmm. It's simple stuff. Sometimes it could be so simple, And
I feel like there's more and more people like yourself who are like I've mentioned Númi a few times, even Anna, who have dived deep into a lot of areas of health.
Yeah.
And you have somebody who needs some help.
Yeah.
And it's like one person might need a bit of a body work or a bit of this, another person, because it's been boxed so much.
Yeah.
Either you're a psychologist or you are a massage therapist.
Yeah.
If you're a psychologist, it's a 50-minute session where you sit in front of somebody and you talk.
Yeah.
Or there is this, and then you're doing massage for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
I feel like we are heading into an era where it's just like, what does this person need?
Yeah.
I have been gathering information and knowledge and skills that I can give this person.
Exactly.
And the only thing I'm thinking is how can she or he get the most out of the time with me?
Yeah. And that's how my coaching sessions roll, because I have so much bodywork experience. I've been doing it for a really long time. I have a ton of yoga experience.
Exactly.
So I've been very somatic in a way. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, my coaching sessions are just, they're a combination of it all. Because that's what the body, that's what the human is asking for, the needs. So
absolutely.
So we approaching things in a holistic way is offering a holistic solution, It's really important.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So really great beautiful. To have you on.
So good to be here. So good to talk.
We'll do it again.
Yeah, okay.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you.